Chosen one. Stop and listen closely. This moment is not random. This Sunday is not just another circle on the calendar. It carries a weight, a vibration, a shift that is calling your spirit into attention. You may not fully understand why, but deep down, you know you were not drawn here by accident. You have carried questions. You have walked through silence. You have endured seasons where nothing seemed to move. Yet somehow, you kept going. You felt pressed, but not crushed. You felt struck, but not destroyed. Why? Because you were preserved for this hour. I want you to picture this. There is a field after winter. Snow melts. The ground softens. And suddenly, small green shoots push through the soil. They were hidden all along, but now they break into the light. That is you. You have been hidden. You have been underground. But this Sunday, you break through. There was once a woman who prayed for years without an answer. She looked at her hands and saw only emptiness. People whispered, "Maybe she is forgotten." Yet what no one could see was that her waiting was not wasted. It was shaping her spirit. And when her appointed time arrived, it came suddenly. Her testimony turned her waiting into a weapon of faith. That story is a mirror of yours. You have endured. You have waited. But now your time of unveiling has come. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah, and these ancient words still breathe today. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm. Plans to give you hope. This is not a distant promise. It is the atmosphere surrounding this Sunday. Understand this. Destiny has hinges, and this Sunday is one of them. Think of a massive gate that has stood closed for years. The rust made you believe it would never move. But all it takes is one hidden hinge turning, and the entire gate swings wide. This is what heaven is preparing in your life. Chosen one. Hear me well. You are not invisible. You are not forgotten. You are not ordinary. The struggles you faced were not punishments. They were preparations. Every tear was watering the soil for the seed inside you. Every silent night was stretching your faith. Every no you received was making room for the greater yes that now stands before you. Do not let distractions steal this moment. Do not scroll past and miss the very thing your spirit has been waiting for. Sunday is not simply coming, it is unfolding. If this resonates in your heart, if you sense that God is speaking to you through these words, I invite you to act. Like this message. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. And subscribe so you do not miss what is unfolding next. And then, as a prophetic step, comment the number 77 below. Not as a ritual, but as a declaration that you are listening, you are aligned, and you are ready for what heaven is releasing. This Sunday will not pass you by. You will not be left out. You will not be forgotten in the crowd. You will step into the light that was always waiting for you. You are the field after winter. You are the seed breaking open. You are the hinge turning the door. And this Sunday is the moment where it all begins to move. This Sunday carries a whisper that echoes louder than all the noise you have endured. You may not see every detail yet, but something inside you already knows. This is your shift. You are stepping into a space where the weight of yesterday loses its grip, and the promises of God begin to unfold in ways you cannot contain. The silence of the past seasons was never abandonment. It was the soil covering your roots so you could grow deeper. When the door swings open this Sunday, You will understand why you were kept waiting. The pain will make sense. The delays will reveal their purpose. And the strength you carry will shine brighter than you imagined. Every trial was a rehearsal for this unveiling. Do not underestimate what one appointed moment can do. It can rewrite years of history in a single breath. So let this word settle into you. Do not dismiss it. Hold it close. And mark your heart with expectation. The hour is near. The hinge is ready. And your name is already written on the gate. This Sunday, step forward. You are about to see what heaven has been preparing all along. You begin to realize something that shakes you at the core. Your entire journey has not been random wandering, but precise orchestration. Every valley, every mountain, every delay, every acceleration, it has all been leading to this very hour. The weight you feel is not the weight of coincidence, but the evidence of destiny. There were times you questioned why your path seemed more difficult than others. You saw people running ahead, building faster, receiving answers while you were still waiting. You wondered, am I left behind? Yet heaven was whispering, you are not behind, you are reserved. Like fine wine hidden in the cellar. You were not meant to be consumed quickly. You were marked for a time when your impact would not fade, but would multiply. Think of the story of David, forgotten by his own father, left in the fields with sheep, while his brothers stood before Samuel. In the eyes of men, he was overlooked, but in the eyes of heaven, he was already chosen. The oil would not flow until David arrived, because destiny cannot be poured on the wrong head. That is your story too. Others may have looked more qualified, more visible, more ready. But the oil will only recognize the one chosen. This sense of being marked does not always feel glorious. It often feels like rejection, like doors slamming shut, like voices not calling your name. Yet what if those rejections were the fingerprints of God, redirecting you toward the exact space where you were meant to stand? You were never meant to fit in every room. You were never meant to sit at every table. You were marked for the table God Himself prepared for you. I want you to see yourself like a piece of stained glass in a cathedral. When lying flat, it may look like nothing but shards of broken color, but when lifted into the frame and kissed by the light, it becomes a window of beauty that leaves people in awe. That is what God has been doing with your life, piecing together fragments that seemed random, shaping colors that felt disconnected, until the light shines through and reveals the masterpiece. The writings of the prophet Hosea, chapter 6, verse 1 and 2. Come, let us return to the Lord. He has torn, He will heal. He has struck, He will bind us up. On the third day, live. Do you see it? Even the tearing, even the breaking, was part of the healing. What felt like loss was the shaping of revival. Chosen one, you are marked. Marked not by the scars of your past, but by the fingerprints of your Creator. Marked not by failure, but by the undeniable call that rests on your life. You carry something within you that cannot be silenced by fear, cannot be buried by doubt, cannot be erased by rejection. And now the awareness of this truth begins to awaken inside you. Like a lion stirring from slumber, you feel strength returning. You understand that the pain you endured has not weakened you, it has branded you with authority. The nights you survived have become your credentials. The storms you walked through are the reason your voice carries weight. Mark this moment. You were not carried through all of this just to collapse at the threshold. You were not preserved through trials only to blend back into the crowd. You were carried, preserved, hidden, and now unveiled for such a time as this. Your story is not a story of coincidence. It is a story of design. Every setback was a setup. Every closed door was divine redirection. Every unanswered prayer was an invitation to deeper trust. You are marked for this hour, and heaven is aligning everything for the unveiling. The oil is waiting. The gate is opening. The light is rising. And your name is already written into the script of this unfolding Sunday. You are marked. And that mark is not fading. It is a seal placed on you before the foundation of the world. A signature written in heaven that no hand on earth can erase. What you carry is not fragile, though you may have felt fragile. What rests on you is unshakable, though storms have tried to shake you. When you look back, you will see it clearly. Every turn, every no, every delay was a thread woven into a larger pattern. The tapestry is only now coming into view, and it reveals glory greater than your imagination. The waiting was not wasted, it was weaving. Stand firm in this awareness. Lift your head, for your story is not ending in shadows, but in light. This hour is not the hour of your downfall, but the hour of your revealing, and the world will know you were marked for this. The nights you thought no one noticed, the tears you hid from the world, the heaviness that wrapped around your chest, those moments were not wasted. They were the language of heaven, carving strength into your soul. Whispers in the night are not accidents. They are signals. They are reminders that even in silence, you were being prepared. Do you remember the times when your spirit stirred, but you could not explain why? When you woke at midnight, staring at the ceiling, sensing something was near but out of reach. Those were not empty hours. They were conversations between your spirit and eternity. You were being trained in the quiet, in the shadows, while others slept. There was once a man who thought God had forgotten him. He worked faithfully, but saw little fruit. He gave, yet received little recognition. His prayers seemed unanswered. But every night, when he laid down, his spirit would not rest. Something urged him, keep going, do not stop. Years later, he would see that those sleepless nights were not punishment, but preparation. They were heaven's alarm clock, keeping him awake for destiny. Your story echoes his. Every night of wrestling was sharpening your discernment. Every silent season was fine-tuning your hearing. You have been learning to hear God in whispers, so that when his thunder comes, you will not mistake it. According to what is revealed in the book of Psalms, chapter 30, verse 5, weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. That is not just a poetic line, it is your timeline. Nights of sorrow have stretched long, but they cannot outlast the sunrise. Your dawn is scheduled, and nothing can cancel it. Think of it like this: a watchman standing on the city wall at night. He sees nothing but darkness for hours, yet his eyes never close, because he knows dawn must come. He does not control the sunrise, but his posture ensures he is awake when it arrives. You, too, are the watchman. Your nights of waiting have not been wasted. They have positioned you for the morning light. Chosen one, you must hold this truth. The very things that tried to break you have become the very things that qualify you. The cracks in your heart have allowed light to seep through. The scars you carry are not signs of defeat, but signs you survived the battle. You walk differently because you have wrestled in the dark. Now I ask you for something simple. In the comments, write these 3 words: night is over. Let this be more than text on a screen. Let it be a prophetic statement that you are done carrying yesterday's weight. By declaring it, you are aligning your spirit with the dawn, declaring that shadows cannot claim your future. It is a line you draw in the sand, a marker of faith that your morning is not coming, it is here. Your nights have not been wasted, your dawn has not been cancelled, and this Sunday, you will step into what you were always meant to carry. You may not realize it, but every dark season has already been redeeming you. The silence of God was not his rejection, it was his classroom. Every unanswered prayer trained you to lean on his presence more than his gifts. What you thought was punishment was actually shaping the foundation you will now stand on. Think of how the stars appear. They are always there, but you only see them in the dark. In the same way, your truest strengths, your deepest revelations, came alive when you could no longer rely on comfort. The darkness revealed the light you carried. Without the night, you would never have seen how brightly you could shine. When you write, "Night is over," you are not just typing words. You are stepping into agreement with heaven's timeline. You are declaring that yesterday's sorrow has expired. You are telling your soul to release what has ended and to receive what is dawning. This is not denial of the past. It is alignment with the future. Understand this. Your night season had a purpose, but it never had permission to last forever. The enemy wanted you to believe the valley was permanent. But valleys are passages, not destination. Every step you took in pain was still moving you forward. And now you are emerging into the new horizon. This is why Sunday matters so deeply. It is not just another day. It is the moment when heaven flips the page in your story. What felt stuck will suddenly move. What looked finished will suddenly resurrect. You will step into a chapter that could only come after the night season. So take heart. Do not despise what you endured, for it prepared you to carry what is coming. Your midnight was proof that morning was scheduled. And now, as the dawn rises, your spirit will testify. The night is truly over. There is a reason the weight against you has been so heavy. The opposition you have felt was not just random resistance, it was strategic. Darkness has studied you, watched you, measured your potential, and it knew what you were carrying long before you even recognized it yourself. That is why the battle has been fierce. That is why your path has not looked like the easy road of others. When you understand this, everything begins to make sense. The pressure was never proof that you were weak. It was proof that you are dangerous to the enemy. A soldier is never attacked for standing still. The battle comes when you advance. When you move toward the gates of destiny, every setback, every storm, every betrayal, they were all counterattacks against the light within you. Remember Job. His story was not about punishment, but about testing. Darkness requested permission to strike at his life because his righteousness was already shining. The intensity of Job's suffering was proportional to the depth of his calling, and when his trial ended, the restoration doubled what was lost. The same measure applies to you. The battles you faced are not in vain. They are prophetic hints of the increase that is waiting. Think of an arrow. Before it flies forward, it must be pulled back with tension. The further it is pulled, the greater its momentum when released. That is what your season has been, a pulling back, a stretching that felt unbearable. But it was only positioning you for a release with force that darkness cannot stop. The Apostle Paul writes in the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 37, "In all these things we are more than conquerors through him who loved us." Do you see it? You were never meant to just survive. Survival was never the end goal. You were designed to conquer, to overcome, to dismantle what once tried to dismantle you. The enemy feared your unveiling. That is why distractions multiplied around you, why voices rose against you, why weariness tried to drown you. It was never about those circumstances themselves. It was about breaking your focus. If darkness could make you believe you were ordinary, it could delay your step into extraordinary, but you endured. You stood when standing felt impossible. You whispered prayers when your voice was shaking. You refused to let go, even when everything in you said to quit. And that endurance became your shield. It testified that no matter what hell threw at you, your spirit would not bow. Consider this: a diamond is only formed through crushing pressure, hidden deep beneath the earth. What begins as simple carbon is transformed into something rare and unbreakable. The crushing was not destruction, it was transformation. You, too, have been through crushing, but it did not kill you. It redefined you. It turned you from fragile stone into an unshakable diamond. And here is the mystery. The very battles that tried to bury you became the evidence that you were chosen. The enemy does not waste resources on someone who carries no threat. The fire you walked through is proof of the fire you carry within. If darkness fought you this hard, it is because heaven has already marked you as a weapon against it. So now, as Sunday approaches, you must hold this perspective. Do not resent the battle. Recognize it as confirmation. The fight was never a detour. It was part of the path. Every strike only sharpened your blade. Every storm only anchored your roots. Every wound only expanded your compassion. You carry authority now, authority that cannot be purchased or pretended, authority forged in fire, authority proven in midnight. When you speak, it is not empty words, it is weight carried from experience, scars that shine with glory. And when you step into this Sunday, that authority will not be hidden any longer. The battle has always been about your unveiling. The enemy fought the hardest at the threshold because it knew what was waiting on the other side. But you are still here, standing. And that means victory is not only possible, it is inevitable. And now you can see clearly what once felt like chaos was actually strategy. Every battle has left you stronger. Every scar has made your spirit shine brighter. The enemy's fiercest attacks only confirmed the size of your assignment. If the resistance was heavy, it was because the release ahead is greater. So walk forward with this awareness. You are not weak. You are weaponized. You are not broken. You are battle-tested. The fire has not destroyed you. It has defined you. And as Sunday draws near, you will stand not as a victim of storms, but as a victor rising from them. There is a crown reserved for you, one that no hand can steal and no darkness can tarnish. It is not made of fragile metal, nor of jewels that can lose their shine. It is a crown of fire, unshakable, eternal. Waiting for the moment, it will rest upon your head. You have walked through seasons of testing, and each step has been forging the foundation for that crown. Sometimes you may have felt the weight of life pressing down so heavily that you wondered if God truly saw you. Yet every trial you endured was another strike of the hammer, shaping your destiny. Like gold purified in fire, you are emerging without the impurities that once clung to you. You are more radiant now than you were before the battle. Think of an olive, crushed in the press. It seems like destruction, yet it is the only way for the oil to flow. That is your story. The crushing has produced oil, and that oil is not wasted. It is the very anointing that will carry you forward into what you were born to do. The Apostle Paul reminds us in the first letter to the Corinthians, chapter 9, verse 25, everyone who competes in the games goes into strict training. They do it to get a crown that will not last. But we do it to get a crown that will last forever. This crown is not just a promise of heaven, it is also a picture of your present journey. What you have endured is not without reward. The training, the struggles, the sacrifices, they all point to a crown that is unshakable. And now I want to pause and speak heart to heart. Messages like this, one words that meet you in your midnight, reminders that you are chosen and not forgotten. They reach you because of a community of people who believe in keeping this flame alive. It is not easy. It is like tending a lamp in the temple. The oil must always be replenished, or the flame fades. That is why I ask you gently, if this word speaks to you, if it has helped you carry your burden a little lighter, consider pressing like and share. These simple acts are like lighting a lantern on a hill, letting its glow guide someone else wandering in the dark. And if you feel led, subscribe, not just as a digital button, but as a step into a journey where every new word is like fresh bread placed on your table at the right time. For those who want to go deeper, you may choose to donate. Do not see it as losing, but as planting seeds in a field you may never walk in. The fruit will bless strangers. The shade will comfort travelers you may never meet. Your gift is like water poured on embers, ensuring the flame does not die but rises into fire, strong enough to warm a generation. And even if you cannot give financially, you can still keep the flame alive. Every like, every share, every subscription becomes a ripple, like throwing a stone into a pond. The circles expand far beyond where it first landed. They reach people you will never see, but whose lives may be saved because light touched them at the right moment. You are part of this story. You are not just a listener, you are a co-builder of this altar of hope. Every time you engage, you are adding another stone. Every time you give, you are pouring oil into the lamp. And heaven sees. Heaven remembers. Heaven does not overlook what is done in love. Chosen one, remember this, your crown is certain. No one can steal it. But as you walk toward it, you are invited to help others find theirs. You are carrying oil not only for yourself, but for those who are coming after you. And when you share, subscribe, or give, you are essentially saying, I will not let the flame die here. I will pass it forward. So let this crown of fire remind you, you are not living for what fades. You are part of something eternal. You are chosen to shine. And nothing, no battle, no loss, no rejection can stop the fire that has been placed upon your head. And this Sunday, as heaven unfolds its plan, you will see the reward of your endurance. You will see that the fire was never meant to consume you, it was meant to crown you. There are moments in your life where time feels like it bends, moments where you know something greater is interrupting your ordinary rhythm. This is one of those moments. Do not dismiss the pull you feel in your chest. Do not ignore the stirring you sense as you hear these words. This is not coincidence. This is not a random alignment of chance. This is God Himself interrupting delay. Delay has been your constant companion. You prayed and saw little shift. You waited, yet doors seemed sealed shut. You began to wonder, am I forgotten? But heaven says, no, you are not forgotten. You are protected. There are seasons where delay is not denial, but divine insulation. You were being held back, not because you were unworthy, but because the appointed time had not yet struck. Think of a train waiting at the station. It seems motionless, powerless, left behind. But in reality, it is waiting for the precise second on the schedule. Once the signal comes, it will surge forward with unstoppable force. That has been you. Waiting did not mean wasted, it meant alignment. And now the signal has been given. The prophet Haggai, chapter 2, verse 9, declares, "The glory of this present house will be greater than the glory of the former house, says the Lord Almighty, and in this place I will grant peace." What is coming will outweigh what was lost. What is ahead will carry more weight than what slipped away. You may not see it yet, but everything has been moving toward this point. The doors you cried over were not meant for you. The people who left could not walk into your future. The opportunities you thought you missed were never part of your assignment. The real glory is not behind you, it is before you. Delay often feels like punishment, but it is actually preparation. Imagine a sculptor carving a statue from stone. Each strike of the chisel looks like destruction, but in truth, it is revealing the masterpiece hidden within. That is what your season of waiting has been. Heaven chiseling away what does not belong, until only the masterpiece remains. Chosen one, you are stepping out of delay. The chains of hesitation, fear, and weariness that tried to keep you circling in the same place are breaking even now. You will not stay stuck. You will not live bound to the same cycles forever. The signal has been released. The time is now. And here, I invite you to take a prophetic step. Write these numbers in the comments. 999. Do not underestimate this act. It is not superstition. It is not empty ritual. It is a declaration. The number 999 speaks of completion, of something ending, so that a new thing can fully begin. When you type it, you are agreeing with heaven. My season of endless waiting is complete. I step into the fullness of what God has prepared. No. Understand why this matters. Words alone are powerful. But when words are sealed with action, they become anchors. By writing this number, you are anchoring yourself into what heaven is doing. You are stamping your faith onto this moment, saying, I will not wander back. I choose to walk forward. No. Think of a key turning in a lock. The lock has always been there. The door has always been ready. But until the key turns, nothing shifts. Your faith, expressed in word and action, is that key. 999 is the sound of the lock opening, the sign that delay has expired. The truth is, the waiting has not broken you, it has prepared you. You have been stretched, but stretching only increases capacity. You have been slowed, but slowness only deepened your roots. Now, when the release comes, you will carry more than you ever thought possible. So let this moment mark you. Delay is ending. Alignment is here. Your spirit already senses it, that quickening, that stirring, that pulse. Heaven is not asking you to prove yourself, only to agree with what has already been decided. This Sunday is not just another date. It is the sound of the clock striking the hour of your unveiling. Do not miss it. Stand ready. Step forward. And remember, 999 is not just numbers on a screen. It is the echo of completion, the whisper of heaven saying, "The waiting is over. Walk into what I have set before you." 999 is more than digits. It is a prophetic seal. It speaks of endings that make room for beginnings, of cycles completed so that new doors may open. By declaring it, you are saying, "The old chapter closes, and the new one begins with me." There are turning points in the story of every chosen one. Some come with the sound of thunder, loud and unmistakable. Others come quietly, like the slow dawning of the sun after a long night. Yet, whether dramatic or gentle, they are moments when mercy whispers for the last time before stepping back. You have stood near that threshold. You know what it is like to feel the tug of war between grace pulling you forward and fear dragging you back. At times, you even questioned, what if I miss it? What if I cross the line of no return? These questions haunted you, not because God wanted to terrify you, but because He wanted to awaken you. The tension you felt was evidence that heaven was still near, still calling, still pleading for you not to delay. Mercy is not endless procrastination. Mercy is a season, and every season has an expiration date. That is why the urgency within you has been growing louder. It is the Spirit reminding you, do not linger too long. Do not play with fire. Do not ignore the voice that calls you higher. The prophet Elijah stood before a wavering people and spoke a question that echoes even now. In the first book of Kings, chapter 18, verse 21, "How long will you waver between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow Him. But if Baal is God, follow him." That ancient challenge is still alive today. It is heaven's way of saying, the middle ground is disappearing. A decision must be made. You have felt this pressure in your own spirit. One moment, you sense clarity. The next, confusion clouds your heart. One day, your steps feel aligned. The next, you stumble into hesitation. This wrestling is not random. It is a symptom of standing at the edge of choice. Think of a river splitting into two streams. For a while, the current is tangled, swirling, undecided. But eventually, the waters must choose a direction. They cannot flow both ways forever. Your spirit is like that river. The swirl you have felt is not permanent. It is the pressure of needing to choose the flow. Mercy's warning is not cruel. It is loving. A parent who sees a child playing too close to the edge will raise their voice, not because they hate the child, but because they love too deeply to remain silent. The raised voice is not anger. It is urgency born of love. That is how heaven has been speaking to you. Strong, direct, clear, not to condemn you, but to protect you before it is too late. At times you may have wondered why conviction pierced so sharply, why words seemed to cut deeper than usual, why sermons or whispers in prayer carried weight that unsettled you. It was not because you were rejected, it was because you are chosen. Heaven does not plead with everyone this way. Heaven does not pursue the indifferent with such passion. The weight you feel is evidence of your calling. And this is where the seriousness lies. Mercy is precious because it is not infinite. A window remains open only for a time. The ark's door did not stay open forever. It closed. And once it did, those who lingered outside could not enter. The tragedy was not that God had no room, it was that delay had robbed them of opportunity. Your season of hesitation has already been long, but grace has carried you. The question now is, how much longer will you linger at the threshold? Because the warning is clear, you are one rebellion away from blindness, one more step into stubbornness, and you risk losing the sensitivity you now feel. Yet let this truth steady you. The very fact that you are hearing this message means the door is not closed yet. Conviction is still working. Mercy is still reaching. The Spirit has not given up on you. That weight in your chest is the evidence of love fighting for your future. Think of fire flickering on a candle's wick. It dances weakly, almost ready to vanish. But then a hand shields it from the wind, keeping it alive until it can burn steady again. That is what mercy has been doing for you, shielding your flame from being snuffed out, even when you felt too weak to protect it yourself. Do not despise this season. Do not waste the pull you feel. Mercy's warnings are not threats, they are invitations. Invitations to step out of danger and into safety, to leave the valley of indecision and climb the mountain of purpose, to silence the confusion of delay and embrace the clarity of obedience. This is not coincidence. It is divine interruption. Heaven is speaking now because the moment cannot be ignored. You are standing at the edge of decision, and what you choose will mark the rest of your journey. There is something extraordinary about the way light behaves in the presence of darkness. Darkness does not have substance of its own. It only exists where light is absent. The moment light enters, darkness is forced to retreat. It does not argue. It does not resist it, simply vanishes. That is the power you carry, even when you forget it. Your very presence shifts atmospheres. People may not always understand why they react to you the way they do, but deep down, their spirits recognize it. Some will be drawn to you, finding peace and comfort they cannot explain. Others will feel unsettled, even resistant, because the light within you exposes what they have tried to hide. Do not take their reaction personally. They are not reacting to you, they are reacting to the light. Jesus himself declared that his followers would be the light of the world, not a hidden lamp, but a city on a hill that cannot be ignored. You may not see yourself that way, but every time you step into a room, you bring a measure of light that changes things. Even when you feel weak, the spirit within you does not dim. The Apostle James, chapter 4, verse 7, speaks this truth. Submit yourselves therefore to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Notice what it says. The enemy does not negotiate when confronted with surrendered light. He flees. He does not linger in the presence of what is unshakable. This is why your battles have been so intense. Darkness has always feared what you carry, long before you saw it. Hell recognized it. That is why attacks came early, why opposition felt relentless, why rejection seemed to chase you. The goal was never simply to wound you, it was to extinguish the light before you realized it was burning. But the attempts failed. You are still here, and the light has only grown brighter because of the pressure. Think of a lantern pressed on all sides. The more it is shaken, the wider its cracks may appear. But through every crack, more light escapes, spreading further than before. That is your story. What felt like breaking has only increased your reach. Understand this clearly. You do not need to fight for your light. You do not need to strive to make it visible. Light does not struggle to shine. It simply shines. And in doing so, it disrupts darkness. In the same way, you disrupt atmospheres without even trying. Your smile, your silence, your presence all carry weight because they carry light. It is important to remember, though, that light must remain connected to its source. A candle cut off from its flame will extinguish. A lamp disconnected from oil will grow dim. And so you must remain rooted in the one who lit your fire. This is not about performance, it is about connection. When you draw close to the source, the light within you grows steady and unwavering. There will be people who do not understand this about you. They may say you are too much, too different, or that you don't fit in. And they are right. You were not meant to fit. You were meant to stand out. Not by arrogance, but by radiance. A lighthouse does not apologize for shining. It exists to disrupt the night so that ships can find their way. You, too, are that lighthouse. Your presence terrifies darkness because it reminds the enemy of his defeat. Every time you walk into a room, it is as though you carry a banner declaring, "Light has already won." You may not see the battle raging in the unseen, but your spirit's glow pushes back the shadows around you. And sometimes, yes, this calling feels heavy. Buying light means being noticed. It means carrying a weight others may not understand. But remember this, the sun never apologizes for rising. It simply does what it was created to do. You, too, were created for this. Chosen one. Do not minimize what you carry. Do not dim your glow to make others comfortable. Do not hide your fire to blend into the night. The darkness has had enough stage time. Now it is your turn. This Sunday, when you rise, when you walk, when you step into alignment, the light within you will not only shine, it will blaze, and no shadow will be able to withstand it. Your light is not fragile, it is eternal flame. Shadows may gather, but they cannot swallow it. Stand tall. Shine boldly. For this is the moment heaven has been preparing. The world will see it. Darkness cannot stand where you arrive. There comes a point in every journey where the chosen one must respond, not with endless waiting, not with excuses, but with a clear voice that says, "I hear, I see, I accept." Silence may have carried you through past seasons, but this season demands a sound. The truth is, heaven has already marked you. The evidence is undeniable. The battles you fought were not normal battles. The weight you carried was not ordinary weight. The endurance you found was not common strength. Everything about your story has pointed to the fact that you are not just passing through this world, you are carrying something eternal. But calling without response is like fire without air. It flickers, it struggles, it risks fading. Your response is the oxygen that ignites the flame. This is why the Spirit keeps drawing you to moments like this, where you cannot stay passive any longer. You must release a sound. The Apostle Paul speaks in the book of Hebrews, chapter 3, verse 15. Today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts, as in the time of rebellion. That word "today" is critical. Not tomorrow, not later, not when life settles. Today, because delay hardens and hardness blinds. Think of a seed. It can remain locked inside its shell for years, carrying potential but producing nothing. But the moment water touches it, the shell breaks and life bursts forth. Your declaration is that water, it cracks the shell of hesitation and lets destiny grow. Without response, the seed remains hidden. With response, it becomes a tree. Do not underestimate the power of small words. Sometimes the greatest shifts in the spiritual realm are marked not by long speeches, but by simple confessions. Yes, Lord, I'm ready. I surrender. These words may feel small, but in heaven they roar like thunder. And so, here is your invitation. In the comments, write, "My spirit moves." Just 3 words. But when you type them, let it be more than keystrokes. Let it be your prophetic movement. Let it echo, "I refuse to stand still. I will not linger in hesitation. I move with the Spirit into what is mine." Understand what you are doing. You are not typing for me. You are not performing for others. You are aligning yourself with heaven's timing. You are putting action behind conviction, sound behind silence. And in that moment, the atmosphere shifts. Think of a soldier stepping across a line drawn in the sand. One step may not seem dramatic, but it changes everything. It marks allegiance. It marks intention. It says, "I am not neutral. I belong to this side." That is what your words mean in this moment. They are your step across the line. You have been carried long enough. You have been stirred long enough. You have been prepared long enough. Now the call is simple. Respond. Release your voice. Type your declaration. And step into what has always been waiting for you. This Sunday, your yes will not be empty. It will be weighty. It will shake the ground beneath you and mark the beginning of the next chapter of your calling. You may not see it with your natural eyes, but every time you respond in faith, something shifts in the unseen. Your simple words become like arrows, piercing through layers of doubt and fear. Heaven does not overlook your yes, it treasures it, records it, and moves in alignment with it. When you say, "My spirit moves," you are announcing to both heaven and earth that you refuse to stay chained. It is like a bird unfolding its wings after being trapped too long in a cage. The cage may have been strong once, but wings were never created to remain folded. They were created for flight. That response is also a declaration to darkness. It tells the enemy, "Your intimidation no longer holds me. Your whispers of fear no longer bind me. My spirit moves beyond your reach." In that instant, chains lose their grip, and your heart tastes freedom that cannot be stolen. Understand this truth. God does not require perfection in your response. Él requiere honesty. He requires willingness. Your movement, even if small, becomes a seed planted in fertile ground. And in time, it produces a harvest larger than you ever imagined. So as this Sunday approaches, let your heart be steady. Let your declaration rise. Do not despise the power of 3 words. They may seem simple on a screen, but in eternity, they resound as thunder. And once released, they will mark the beginning of a chapter you will never regret stepping into. This Sunday is unlike the ones that came before it. It is not just another date to circle on a calendar. but a divine shift waiting to unfold in your story. The air around you has been carrying a certain weight, as if creation itself has been holding its breath, waiting for you to step into alignment. You have felt it, that restlessness in your spirit, that sense of something about to break open. It has not been imagination. It has been preparation. Old battles are ending. The cycle that has tried to repeat itself year after year is reaching its conclusion. What you could not break by force will dissolve in the presence of God's timing. There is a sound in the spirit, like chains snapping after years of holding tight. This Sunday carries that sound. It is not just a day, it is a turning point. The place where endings give way to beginnings. The Word of God declares in the book of Joshua, chapter 1, verse 9, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid, for the Lord your God is with you wherever." These words are not just encouragement, they are a command. They are the fuel you need to walk into this prophetic moment without hesitation. Think of your life like a river. For years, it may have seemed dammed up, waters blocked and unable to flow. But dams do not last forever. Pressure builds until the wall can no longer hold, and suddenly the river bursts through, unstoppable, carving new channels into the earth. This Sunday is that bursting point, where the river of your destiny flows freely again, sweeping away debris that once stood immovable. It is at this point that I want to speak to you with honesty. Messages like these do not appear out of nowhere. They are the fruit of labor, prayer, and a community that believes in keeping the lamp burning. Think of an old lighthouse standing on a stormy shore. Its flame shines night after night so ships can find their way home. But that flame does not maintain itself. It requires tending, fuel, and care. That is why I gently invite you. Consider pressing like and share. Each act is like releasing a lantern into the night sky. Its glow traveling farther than you can see, guiding strangers who are still lost in the dark. And if you feel stirred, subscribe. See it as choosing to keep an open window in your house, so the wind of new words can flow in fresh every time you need air. For some of you, there may also be a stirring in your heart to donate. It is like pouring water into a well, ensuring that not only you, but also travelers you will never meet can drink deeply when they arrive thirsty. Think of it another way. A fire can warm a single room, but when more wood is added, the blaze grows until it can heat an entire house. Your generosity is like adding wood to that fire. You are not just keeping it alive for yourself, you are helping it grow until it touches people who are cold, lost, and searching for warmth. Even if you cannot give financially, you still hold power. Every like, every share, every subscription becomes a ripple, like throwing a stone into a pond. The circles expand far beyond where it first landed. They reach people you will never see, but whose lives may be saved because light touched them at the right moment. But hear this again. Nothing is demanded of you. God does not bargain with his chosen ones. He invites, he opens doors, and he lets your response be an act of beauty, never of pressure. If you choose to give, to share, to engage, do it with joy. Do it knowing that you are not paying a cost, but participating in the spreading of light, because Sunday is not just your breakthrough, it is also someone else's, and your act, your like, your share, your subscription, Your seed might be the very bridge that carries this light into their midnight. You may never know their names, but eternity will remember your choice. So stand ready. The old battles are ending. The dam is breaking. The river is flowing. And as this Sunday unfolds, your life will testify. The season of delay is finished. The moment of release has come, and nothing can stop what heaven has already set in motion. This is your hour, and it is holy. Step into it with courage, for the ground beneath you has already been prepared. The chains are breaking, the rivers are flowing, and the fire is rising. This Sunday is not just coming, it is crowning you with destiny. Tears have always carried a language that words cannot express. They flow when the heart is too heavy to speak, when silence holds too much weight, when the soul feels stretched beyond its limits. And yet, in the kingdom of God, not a single tear has ever been wasted. Each one has been noticed, collected, and transformed into something far greater than the pain that produced it. There have been nights when you wept until exhaustion silenced you, days when your heart ached so deeply that even breathing felt like labor. You may have thought those tears disappeared into the air, unseen and unheard, but in truth, they were caught in the hands of the one who never slumbers. Every drop became oil for your anointing. Think of a vial, a delicate jar filled drop by drop. That is how heaven has treated your tears, not as accidents, but as treasures. What was born of sorrow will one day pour out as strength. What came from loss will return as authority. For the broken have always carried the deepest anointing, because what flows through cracks spreads further than what is sealed tight. The psalmist David understood this mystery. He wrote in the book of Psalms, chapter 56, verse 8, "You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. You have recorded each one in your book. This is not just poetry, it is reality. Your tears are eternal records, marked in heaven as evidence of faith that endured in silence." Consider the olive again. Oil does not flow until crushing comes. The press squeezes out what cannot be released otherwise. Your tears have been that crushing, but the flow that comes after will be more valuable than gold. It will heal others, comfort those in despair, and carry fragrance that could never be imitated. You may not see it yet, but there will come a day when the very memories of your pain will become testimonies. The nights you thought you were alone will become stories of how God never left. The wounds you thought disqualified you will become the very marks of your authority. And the tears you once hid will become rivers that refresh those still thirsty. Think of a desert after long drought, cracked earth, lifeless and dry. Then, suddenly, rain falls. Every drop matters. The soil drinks deeply. And within days, hidden seeds burst into bloom. Flowers rise where death once ruled. That is what your tears have done in the unseen. They have watered seeds lying dormant in the soil of your destiny. And now the season of bloom draws near. There is a quiet kind of strength born from people who have cried much. They carry compassion others cannot fake. They recognize pain in others without needing words. They know how to sit with the broken without offering shallow answers. This is your strength. It was birthed in your nights of weeping. Do not despise your tears. Do not wish them erased from your story. They are part of your anointing. They prove that you felt, that you endured, that you loved deeply even when it cost you. And those who have been broken in such ways often shine with a light no darkness can imitate. Look back at your journey. See the moments where you should have been crushed completely, but somehow you rose again. Notice the seasons where despair tried to bury you. Yet here you stand. The truth is, your tears did not drown you. They baptized you. They washed away what could not remain, and they left you standing purified. Though scarred, every prophet, every leader, every person who carried glory in the scriptures had seasons of weeping. Joseph wept when reunited with his brothers. Hannah wept bitterly before her miracle came. David soaked his bed with tears before he wore the crown. Jesus himself wept at the tomb of Lazarus. Tears are not weakness, they are sacred. And so your tears are not shameful, they are holy. They testify that your heart is still alive, still tender, still able to feel. In a world that hardens hearts with bitterness, your tears prove you have not turned cold. You remained open. You remained human. You remain chosen. The season is coming where your tears will turn to laughter, where your mourning will transform into dancing, where what you lost will be restored in double measure. And when you stand in that moment, you will look back and realize it was your tears that watered the soil of your promise. So hold this truth close. Nothing has been wasted. Not one tear fell unnoticed. Not one sigh went unheard. Heaven has written every moment into your story. And the oil that flows from your brokenness will heal more than you could ever imagine. There are moments when promises do not just remain words on paper, but they begin to manifest as reality. What was once distant suddenly feels near. What was once hoped for begins to unfold before your very eyes. That is what this season carries for you, the transition from waiting to walking, from promise spoken to promise sealed. God does not make empty vows. His words are not fragile threads that snap under pressure. They are anchors, steady and secure, holding you, even when storms rise. And yet, the waiting has often tested you. You have asked, is it real? Will it happen for me? Or will I be the one who always hears but never sees? These questions have followed you like shadows, but now the atmosphere shifts. What you once only heard, you will begin to see. The distance between declaration and manifestation is closing. What was sealed in heaven is breaking open on earth. The prophet Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3, declares this truth. For the vision awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not prove false. Though it lingers, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay. These words remind you that delay was not denial, it was preparation. The appointed time has always been written, and now it draws near. Think of a letter sealed with wax. For years it may sit on the table, untouched, unopened. You know it carries a message. But until the seal is broken, you cannot read its contents. This is what your promise has been sealed, protected, hidden until the right moment. Now, the seal is breaking. Now, the message is being read aloud over your life. Chosen one, you are stepping into covenant. A covenant is not a fragile agreement that can be broken by circumstance. It is a divine binding, unshakable and eternal. Heaven has marked you, and the seal cannot be tampered with. This is why your life has not fallen apart completely, because covenant held you even when your strength failed. But here is the key: covenant requires recognition. It is one thing for heaven to declare it. It is another for you to acknowledge it. When you acknowledge, you align. When you align, you activate. This is why I invite you to take a prophetic step. Write this number in the comments: 111. Why 111? Because it is a number of unity. It is a reminder that the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit are one, and that you are called to walk in oneness with Him. By typing it, you are saying, I agree, I align, I am one with the covenant written over my life. This act is not superstition. It is not ritual. It is a declaration, a prophetic echo. Just as ancient altars were built stone by stone to mark encounters with God, so too your declaration becomes an altar in the digital space. It says to heaven, I have heard, I have received, I am sealed. Think of how signatures work. A contract is not complete until signed. The words are powerful, but they remain pending until agreement is written. Your response is that signature. It finalizes what heaven has already extended. When you write 111, you are signing the covenant in faith, agreeing to walk in what God has spoken. And understand this, covenants are not fragile. They outlast storms, survive betrayals, and remain steady even when you feel weak. You may stumble, but the covenant holds. You may weep, but the covenant endures. You may question, but the covenant does not unravel. This is why your promise is secure, because it rests not on your perfection, but on His faithfulness. Your seal is unbreakable. The oil produced in your crushing, the tears gathered in your jars, the scars you carry, all of it is bound within this covenant. And this Sunday, as the atmosphere shifts, you will know the promise is not only spoken, it is sealed. So do not hesitate. Let your spirit respond. 111 is more than numbers. It is your yes in alignment with heaven's promise. It is your faith saying, I receive what has been waiting for me. I step into covenant that cannot be broken. This is your hour to sign with your heart, to declare with your fingers, to agree with your destiny. The seal is broken. The letter is read. The covenant is alive. When you declare 111, you are not merely writing a number, you are stepping into alignment. One with His will, one with His promise, one with His Spirit. It is the visible echo of your invisible faith, the signature that says, I belong to covenant, and covenant belongs to me. There is a roar within you that has been silenced for too long, not because it was gone, but because it was buried. Life has tried to cover it with disappointment, fear, and doubt. Circumstances press down like stones over a well, muffling the sound that was always meant to rise. Yet, what is hidden cannot stay buried forever. The lion within you is stirring. This inner roar is not about volume, it is about authority. A lion does not roar to prove itself strong. It roars to establish territory, to signal presence, to remind every other creature that it is awake. That is what God has placed within you, a roar that announces who you are and whose you are. Perhaps you have been told to stay quiet. Perhaps you have been made to believe your words do not carry weight, that your dreams are too bold, or that your voice does not matter. But heaven disagrees. Heaven whispers, you are not muted. You are not small. You are not forgotten. The lion within you has been waiting for the moment when courage would override fear, when destiny would override hesitation. The Word of God speaks through the Apostle Paul in the second book of Timothy, chapter 1, verse 7, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, and of love, and of a sound mind." Notice what is written. Fear is not your inheritance. Fear is not your identity. Power is. Love is. Clarity is. These are the true sounds of your roar. Think of how a lion lives. It does not apologize for its presence in the wild. It does not ask permission to walk through the savannah. Its very stride carries authority. You, too, have been designed to carry yourself with a presence that needs no apology. Your existence already disrupts darkness. Your walk already shifts the atmosphere. Your roar already signals that you belong here. The lion within you has been tested. Every challenge was not meant to silence you, but to strengthen the force behind your voice. When a lion roars, it can be heard for miles. That kind of resonance comes from lungs built strong through breath, through use, through pressure. In the same way, the endurance you have built through your trials has prepared your roar to travel further than you imagine. Think of the silence you endured, seasons where you said little, seasons where you prayed but heard no response, seasons where your words felt heavy but empty. In those times, something was being forged deep inside. Your silence was not weakness, it was incubation. Just as a volcano looks calm until pressure builds, your quiet has been storing strength that will not be contained. And when the roar comes, it will not just be sound, it will be declaration. It will break atmospheres. It will silence lies. It will scatter shadows. That is why the enemy has fought so hard to keep you muted. Because once you release the sound inside of you, nothing will remain the same. You may not feel like a lion right now. You may feel fragile, hesitant, even small. But understand this: courage does not always feel loud. Sometimes courage is simply taking the next step, speaking the next word, refusing to let fear dictate your choices. Every act of courage is a small roar, and these small roars gather until they become a thunder that shakes the ground. There is a reason why Scripture often compares the righteous to lions, not because they are reckless, but because they are unshakable. A lion may rest, but it does not lose its authority. It may be silent for a time, but its silence never means weakness. And when it chooses to rise, the entire territory feels it. Chosen one, your roar is rising. Your authority is not borrowed from others. It is placed within you by God Himself. Your love, your compassion, your endurance, your voice, these are not ordinary. They are marks of someone who carries a sound designed to shift nations, to awaken hearts, to remind the world that light has not gone silent. So let the lion within you awaken. Let it rise from the ashes of fear. Let it break through the stones of silence. You were never made to whisper your destiny. You were made to roar it into the atmosphere until everything around you aligns. This Sunday, as the heavens unfold, the sound within you will not remain hidden. The lion will rise, and when it does, you will know you were never weak, never voiceless, never forgotten. You were always a carrier of a roar that shakes the earth. There are moments when all of heaven seems to pause, waiting for one act of obedience to unlock what has been held back, not because God is unwilling, but because he desires partnership. He does not force his will upon his chosen ones. He invites them to step forward with a simple yes. And that yes, though small on your lips, carries a weight that shakes the unseen realm. Obedience is often misunderstood. It is not about endless striving or religious performance. True obedience flows from trust. It is a surrender that says, even if I do not understand, I will follow. This kind of obedience is not heavy, it is liberating. It releases you from carrying burdens you were never meant to hold. It frees you from the illusion of control and places you in the current of divine purpose. Think of a door that has been shut for years. The lock seems immovable. The hinges rusted. You try your strength against it, but nothing changes. Then, one day, you discover the key has been in your pocket all along. Obedience is that key. When you turn it, what once seemed impossible swings open with ease. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 5, verse 33, declares, "Walk in obedience to all that the Lord your God has commanded you, so that you may live and prosper and prolong your days in the land that you will possess." Notice the connection. Obedience is not just about duty, it is about life. It ushers you into prosperity. It extends your days. It positions you to inherit what was always meant to be yours. There have been times when obedience felt costly, when saying yes meant leaving behind comfort, stepping away from what was familiar, or risking the misunderstanding of others. But every costly yes has carried hidden reward. Abraham left his homeland, not knowing where he was going, and through his obedience became the father of nations. Moses returned to Egypt trembling, but his obedience split the sea. Esther risked her life to speak before the king, but her obedience saved an entire people. Your story is not different. The step you are being asked to take may seem small, but its ripple is vast. Heaven measures obedience not by its size in the eyes of men, but by its alignment with eternal purpose. What looks like a whisper on earth thunders in heaven. Perhaps obedience for you in this season means forgiveness, releasing someone who wronged you deeply. Perhaps it means surrendering a plan you held tightly, or finally stepping into a calling you have been resisting. Whatever it is, understand this: your yes carries more than you can see. It splits atmospheres, it breaks cycles, it opens doors for generations to come. Think of a domino. One small tile tipped over may look insignificant, but it begins a chain reaction that moves across the entire line. Your obedience is that first domino. You may think it affects only you, but in truth, it impacts countless lives connected to your story. Do not underestimate the weight of your step. Even hesitation is a decision, and delay can close doors meant for now. But every act of obedience strengthens your spirit, sharpens your discernment, and aligns your steps with the rhythm of heaven. You may fear that your obedience will lead you into loss, but heaven never takes without multiplying. Whatever you release in faith returns in greater measure. Obedience may strip away comfort, but it clothes you in authority. It may call you into risk, but it surrounds you with presence. Think again of the seed. It must leave the hand and fall into the ground, buried and hidden. In that moment, it looks like loss, yet only in burial does it multiply into harvest. So too with your obedience. What feels like surrender is actually the beginning of abundance. chosen one. The step before you is not a trap, it is a threshold. Do not fear it. The ground may shake as you move, but that is only because foundations are shifting to make room for what is new. Your yes is not fragile, it is thunder wrapped in humility, a sound that awakens heaven and silences darkness. So take the step, whisper the yes, cross the threshold, for this is not the end of your story, but the moment where your obedience becomes the bridge between promise and fulfillment. And when you look back, you will see clearly it was never as costly as it felt. The reward of obedience always outweighs the price. There are seasons when God does not just call you to receive light, but to carry it into places that have long been waiting. This is what it means to be a torchbearer. You are not only chosen to be healed, restored, and strengthened, you are chosen to shine so that others may find their way. A torchbearer does not walk for themselves alone. Their flame lights a path that others can follow. Think of an ancient relay, where fire was passed from one runner to the next. The flame was never allowed to die, because it represented hope for a people, continuity of purpose, and the promise of arrival. You, too, are part of that relay. The flame you carry is not meant to be hidden, it is meant to spread. Yet carrying a torch is not without cost. Wind will try to extinguish it. Rain will beat against it. Darkness will surround it. But the torch that burns within you is not ordinary fire. It is fire from heaven. Fire that cannot be quenched by storm or shadow. You are chosen to carry this flame into a world that has grown weary of darkness. The Apostle Paul writes in the book of Philippians, chapter 2, verse 15, "Then you will shine among them like stars in the sky." As you hold firmly to the word of life, this is your mandate: to shine, to hold firm, to be a living star in a sky that others have thought was empty. But here is the truth: no torchbearer walks alone. The fire you see here, the words that reach you, the messages that strengthen you, they are not the work of one, but of many who quietly tend the flame. And this is where I gently open my heart to you. Consider pressing like and share. Think of it as lifting your torch higher. When the flame rises, its light stretches farther. Someone wandering in shadows may see it flicker in the distance and realize they are not alone. Your simple act is not just digital, it is light extended into places you may never step physically. If you feel drawn, subscribe. Do not see it as another notification, but as keeping your place in the circle of torchbearers. Every time a new flame rises, you will be there, standing ready, holding your light. Subscribing is like choosing to remain in the circle where the fire never dies. And for those who sense a deeper pull, there is the invitation to donate. But hear me, this is never demanded, never a condition, never a transaction. Think of it instead as adding oil to the lamp. Without oil, the wick burns out. With oil, the flame grows steady and bright, illuminating not just one room, but an entire city. Your gift becomes oil poured into the fire, ensuring it will continue burning for those who still stumble in the dark. Even if you cannot give financially, your engagement still matters. Every comment, every share, every act of presence is like adding another spark to the fire. And sparks, when gathered, become a blaze. So, if this message resonates with you, let your heart respond. Leave a comment, not just with words, but as though you were carving your name into the stones of an altar. It becomes a testimony, a marker of your presence, your faith, your agreement that the flame must continue. And when you leave your comment, see it as placing another branch into the fire. One branch alone may flicker, but when many are added, the blaze becomes unstoppable. Your words are not small, they are sparks feeding a fire that will guide others home. Remember this, torches are not carried for comfort, but for impact. They are heavy at times, and the path may be rough, but when lifted, they scatter darkness. They ignite courage. They guide the lost. This is why your light matters. It is not small. It is not ordinary. It is part of heaven's great fire. And when joined with others, it becomes unstoppable. Do not underestimate the beauty of choice. You are free, free to watch, free to pass by, free to walk on. But you are also free to lift your torch, to join the circle, to keep the fire alive. And when you do, it is never wasted. Eternity remembers every act of love, every drop of oil, every flame lifted high. So walk as the torchbearer you are. Carry the flame with dignity. Let your presence become a star in the sky, a lantern on the hill, a fire that refuses to be hidden. And know this, when you choose to engage through your like, your share, your subscription, your giving, you are not just supporting words on a screen, you are tending an eternal fire. And as this Sunday unfolds, your torch will not only burn brighter, it will ignite others. One flame becomes many, and soon, the night that once seemed endless will be shattered by the dawn, rising from countless lights carried by chosen ones like you. What once looked like loss will soon reveal itself as the stage for glory. Every broken place, every empty hand, every silent room where you thought nothing could grow, all of it has been preparing to display a greater beauty than you imagined. Glory is never born in ease. It emerges in the soil of suffering, rises from the ashes of disappointment, and shines brightest against the backdrop of darkness. You may look back at seasons where everything seemed to collapse. Dreams dissolved, relationships ended, opportunities slipped away. In those moments, it felt like defeat. You wondered if your story had reached its end. But heaven whispers differently. The collapse was construction. The tearing down was not destruction, but preparation for rebuilding. Think of a potter's vessel. Sometimes it breaks in the shaping. The cracks seem final. Yet the potter does not discard it. Instead, he gathers the fragments, wets the clay again, and begins to press with greater intention. And when it is finished, the vessel shines stronger than before, its form perfected by the very breaking that once seemed tragic. You, too, are that vessel. What you thought ended has only made you ready for a form you were always meant to carry. The prophet Isaiah spoke of this exchange in the book of Isaiah, chapter 60, verse 1. Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. Notice how it is written, your light does not remain hidden in ashes. It rises, and when it rises, it does not rise weak, but wrapped in glory. Your ashes are not wasted. They are the soil where new growth emerges. When a forest burns, it seems destroyed, but often the fire clears the ground for stronger roots to grow. Seeds that could never break through thick layers of debris suddenly find space to sprout. Within months, green shoots rise where flames once roared. That is your story. What burned away has only cleared space for glory to rise. There is a paradox here. The very places you thought disqualified, you will become the places where God's presence shines brightest. Scars will not be hidden, they will be testimonies. Wounds will not be erased, they will be healed and displayed as marks of survival. The cracks in your story will not diminish your worth. They will allow light to pass through. Think of stained glass windows. Their beauty comes not from smoothness but from fragments joined together. Each shard on its own might seem insignificant, but when fused with fire and framed by design, it becomes a masterpiece that glows. When light shines through, you are that stained glass. The fragments of your past, once broken, now joined by grace, will tell a story of glory to all who look upon you. Do not despise your past. Do not curse the losses, for they have become the very palette with which God paints your destiny. Gold without fire is impure. Diamonds without pressure remain coal. Pearls are birthed only through irritation within the shell. Glory does not emerge in ease. It is born in contradiction. What you thought you lost has actually been multiplied in unseen ways. The relationships that ended left space for truer ones to arrive. The opportunities that faded opened room for doors you could not imagine. The silence that weighed heavily became the soil where your inner voice grew strong. None of it was wasted. All of it was a stage being built for glory. Chosen one, lift your eyes. The ashes you stand upon are holy ground. They are not the evidence of your failure, but the altar of your transformation. You will look back and see that glory was hidden in every loss, waiting for its unveiling. So let this truth anchor you. Your story is not ending in ruins. It is unfolding into radiance. What looked like defeat will testify of victory. What felt like despair will become songs of praise. And when glory rises, you will know it was worth every tear, every loss, every season of silence. And when that radiance appears, it will not be quiet. It will draw eyes, not because you sought attention, but because light cannot be hidden. What once was overlooked will become a testimony others lean upon. They will see the ashes, but they will also see the glory that rose from them. You are stepping into a chapter where even your scars will shine. They will no longer sting, but sparkle with redemption. Glory does not erase the past, it transforms it. And this Sunday, that transformation will not remain a secret. It will be unveiled for the world to see. There comes a final moment when all the threads of your journey begin to weave together. What once felt like scattered fragments now align into a pattern, and what once felt meaningless suddenly reveals purpose. This is not the end of your story, it is the unveiling of why you were chosen all along. You have walked through valleys, shadowed by loss, climbed mountains, steep with trial, and stood in deserts where silence was your only companion. Yet through it all, something within you refused to die. Hope lingered, faith whispered, strength returned when you thought it was gone. That persistence was not your own, it was evidence that you were held, carried, and marked. Now, as this Sunday approaches, everything you endured finds its meaning. What was delayed makes sense in the timing of heaven. What was broken reveals its beauty in restoration. What was lost is overshadowed by what is rising. You are not standing at the edge of defeat. You are standing at the edge of destiny. The Apostle Paul wrote in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 17, "For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all." These words were not empty comfort. They are a mirror for your story. The weight you carried was not without purpose. It has been producing a glory greater than your imagination. Think of an orchestra tuning its instruments. For a while, the sound is scattered, dissonant, unpleasant. But then the conductor lifts his hand, and suddenly all the instruments align. What once sounded like chaos becomes harmony. That is what this moment is, the lifting of heaven's hand, aligning every note of your journey into a song of glory. Your scars are no longer marks of failure. They are melodies in the music. Your silence is no longer emptiness. It is rest between the notes, making the song more powerful. Your battles are not wasted, they are percussion, striking rhythm into your story. You are the symphony of a life redeemed, and now the music will be heard. There is no denying it. You are unshakable, not because you have never fallen, but because every fall became a lesson, and every rise became a testimony. Not because you were never wounded, but because every wound became a scar that now shines with healing. Not because you were never afraid, but because fear did not have the final word. Chosen one. Your destiny is not fragile. It cannot be stolen, delayed, or destroyed by human hands. What heaven has written cannot be erased by earth. What has been declared over you cannot be silenced by darkness. You are the living proof that light triumphs, that mercy prevails, that hope resurrects what once seemed dead. This Sunday is not just a date, it is a seal. It marks the end of wandering and the beginning of walking in fullness. It is the moment where all the waiting turns into motion, where all the promises gather into reality. It is the trumpet sounding in your spirit, declaring, "It is time." Yeah. And when you step into it, you will not step in trembling, you will step in crowned, not with a fragile crown of men, but with the crown of destiny, forged in fire, bathed in tears, and carried through storms. That crown rests not lightly, but firmly, because it was made for you alone. The final truth is this: you are unstoppable, not because you will never face battles again, but because now you know who you are in the battle. Not because storms will never come, but because storms have already proven they cannot sink you. Not because the night will never fall, but because your light now terrifies the darkness. Chosen one. The unveiling has come. The Sunday seal is here. And when the page turns, you will not look back with regret. You will look forward with certainty. For what is written of you is eternal, and what is rising from you is unstoppable. And when you look back, you will see that every valley, every night of silence, every unanswered prayer was never wasted. They were all threads in the tapestry, woven into a design you could not see then, but can recognize now. What felt like delay was always direction. So walk boldly into this unveiling. The time of hesitation is finished. You are not stepping into uncertainty, you are stepping into fulfillment. Your crown is secure, your path is lit, and your destiny is unstoppable. This Sunday is not just a chapter, it is the beginning of the book you were born to live. This is the moment where words pause, but the flame continues. You have heard the call. You have felt the stirring. And now the choice rests beautifully in your hands. Nothing here has been forced upon you. Every whisper has been an invitation. Every picture painted has been a reminder of the destiny already written inside you. And as you carry this forward, I want to open the door for you to respond in the ways your heart feels led. Press like and share. See it not as a click, but as lifting a lantern high on a dark road. Someone else wandering through night may see that glow and realize they are not alone. If you have walked with these words and want to remain part of this journey, subscribe. Think of it like planting your roots near a riverbank. You will always have access to streams of living encouragement when the dry seasons come. Subscribing is not about numbers. It is about staying connected to the flow of light. And if you sense a deeper pull, there is the opportunity to donate. But let it be clear, this is not a demand, nor a price tag for blessing. Think of it instead as adding oil to a lamp. Each drop ensures the flame will not flicker out, but burn steady for others who have yet to find their way home. Your generosity, whether small or great, becomes fuel for hope. Finally, leave a comment, not as a routine, but as a testimony. Your words are like carving your name into a pillar of fire, saying, I was here. I chose light. I chose destiny. And when others see it, they may find courage to add their flame beside yours. So, as this script closes, the story does not end. The fire moves on, carried in your hands. Step into it, shine with it, and let the world see what happens when God's chosen ones rise together